You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley, and this is Knightline at Night. A little Dr. Dre underneath our little intro here. Dr. Dre having some issues tonight in a hospital, so we're giving a little bit of a tribute to our good friend Dr. Dre. Get well, Dre. All right, so this is Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, like I said before. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs at 386-690-1636. You can call us if you want to talk to us, taking your calls at 844-580-9326, 844-580-WDBO, or you can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. We're talking about UCF sports and anything else, I guess, tonight, because there's not a lot of UCF sports going on. I have Big Ben Stout with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter, and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter from the Santa Rosa Beach studios. And you can find all the rest of our content on nightlinesports.com. That's a mouthful to say all that stuff at the beginning of this, but we're here. It is Happy New Year, by the way, everyone. It's been a while since we were on before the new year. Sam is in the studio as well. Sam, Happy New Year.
Thanks, you guys too.
All righty. So we were looking forward to talking during a UCF basketball game tonight against Memphis. It was supposed to start right at 9 o'clock, and it didn't. It was canceled because of COVID-19 issues, which is, kind of a bummer. It seems like that's becoming a trend, COVID-19 cancellations of basketball. So,
yeah, there's been 4 either cancellations or postponements so far this year. So it seems like we just can't quite. It's a lot of starting and stopping, and I know that we're not the only team, but it certainly seems like a lot of it going on with us.
Well, the other part about this is it doesn't help our team specifically because they're trying to gel and become cohesive. So this back and forth, you had Perry in the last game go off, and now they've got to sit out another week. So you seem to watch this team grow a little bit every week, and then all of a sudden, everything stopped. So,
yeah. This seems to be the first one that was actually caused by a positive test on our end.
Supposedly the last one was as well, though, from what I understood.
Okay,
so
I
think this is the second one that has been caused by. I think we canceled Tulane as well. I think a couple of weeks ago.
Well, the story goes that, and I can't confirm this, but it was Tulane that actually turned around and canceled the game. Supposedly, we had a player that tested positive. They were isolated. We were ready to play. Tulane did not feel comfortable doing that and decided to cancel the game, and it was rescheduled is what I was told.
Okay, well, whatever. Either way, we have had a couple games now canceled because of COVID. What do you say, Ben? I think you follow basketball closer than all the rest of it. You said 4 games now?
Yeah, that's our 4th game, starting with the Oklahoma game, which was supposed to be our 2nd game of the year. And then our Houston was supposed to be at Houston the first game. And then 2 in the last week, essentially, on the day after, or they were supposed to play, as you said, Tulane. And then this game tonight at Memphis, it's a shame because after unfortunately losing to our rivals over there to the west of us,
West Central Florida, the Cows.
Yeah, West Central Florida Cows. Unfortunately, never want to lose war on I-4, regardless of what the sport it is. And so it's tough losing to them and then not being able to get that bad taste out of our mouth kind of immediately by playing a tough opponent in Memphis, which is another team that, while we go back and forth with the Cows, and that series I think is pretty even over the last 5 years or so. I mean, we've only won 6 out of the 30 times that we've played Memphis, and it seemed like we were poised to kind of bounce back and see what we could do against a pretty quality Memphis team, and unfortunately got canceled. And so that's another just kind of like up and down momentum swing. You don't know what's going to go on with the season. And I think Roger's absolutely right with the kind of chemistry that we want this team to build, especially offensively. They just haven't quite got there yet.
Yeah, and this is one thing that they need to do as well, is to build that chemistry, because they've shown in spurts, awesome chemistry, and been able to, they beat Florida State at home. That was a really big deal. So, and they didn't play horrible against Houston. I would say they probably took a little bit of a step back playing South Florida, but.
We were also without Isaiah Adams. I mean, that didn't help matters either. And he's been a big presence throughout the season, despite being a freshman. He's really stepped up and allowed us to, get some ball movement and do some things offensively that we were clearly missing when we were playing the Cows.
Yeah, both sides of the ball, I agree. I mean, he's not only our third leading scorer on the team as a freshman, but he's also leads the conference in steals per game. I mean, so he's providing a lot on both ends of the floor. Not having him was definitely hurting us against South Florida. But at the end of the day, I think the two biggest things for me against South Florida that kind of burned us was that we gave up 14 offensive rebounds, and we gave up 21 second chance points to them. I mean, that's not boxing out with something that we talk about time and time again with this team. And we only got out rebounded by about 5, but giving up 14 offensive rebounds, 21 second chance points, that kind of was the difference, in my opinion, in the game. And then also we had a player on their team, David Collins, who's their guard. He actually broke B.J. Taylor's record during the game, broke B.J. Taylor's conference record for free throw attempts for the American Conference. But that being said, he did have 15 free throw attempts in the game, and we only had 10 as a team. So it just kind of shows you we weren't as aggressive. Free throw
attempts or free throws made?
So I think actually he broke the career record for free throws made in the conference. That was B.J. Taylor's record, and it really just burns me up that a Cow now holds a B.J. Taylor record. But he had 15 attempts in the game, and he was 7 for 15. But by the same token, we only had 10 attempts as a team, and so it just shows you that we were either not getting the calls or we weren't getting to the basket enough. We weren't being aggressive enough offensively to draw fouls or to really try to impose our will on the inside. And I think that was a potential difference to us.
Yeah, the shooting was not good either. So 36% field goals in the second half. It was a lot better in the first half, 53.6%, but it fell to 36% in the second half. And then we're doing well. It was from 3-point for the game, 36.8% for 3 points, and then for regular shooting, field goal percentage 45.3.
Yeah, so we actually had a couple points better as far as percentage points better than them shooting. They didn't shoot very well at all, but so I think it was just kind of the physicality, them getting some putbacks, and really the first. Also, I think I would say the first 5 minutes of the second half, they just kind of popped a lead and just were able to maintain it for the rest of the second half. I mean, we were up by 1 going into the second half, and that first 5 minutes was a little bit of a difference. They just got a couple of offensive rebounds, got a couple of putbacks, a couple of their plays worked out well. We had some turnovers. It was just a bad stretch for us. unfortunately, we just couldn't recover from it.
Yeah, any loss to those guys is a dagger to the heart for sure. So that was not a happy evening as far as that goes. Another thing that we found out today, the Orlando Sentinel is reporting that Randy Shannon in February of this year signed a contract keeping him through January 31st of 2022. So we have to deal with Randy Shannon a little while longer as the defensive coordinator for UCF. We were hoping that maybe we would have the opportunity to possibly have a new defensive coordinator this year, but that's not going to happen either. So, man, that's kind
we
of
got at least one more season with Randy.
Yeah. We couldn't even call him second half Randy this year because he was even worse in the second half. So hopefully, something happens. Something needs to be done about the defense. And, the real problem, as far as I'm concerned, is he's set to make, to keep making $1 million a year. Still one of the highest paid, if not the highest. He was the highest. I don't know if he is anymore. But he is the highest G5 Group of 5 coordinator.
He is. He makes double the next assistant coordinator down, which was $500,000. So he's making double what the next closest G5 coordinator is making.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know if that's updated or not, but yeah, that's a lot of money to pay a guy that hasn't really performed very well, especially in the last season. So that's kind of a bummer as far as I'm concerned. I've got his contract here. I was able to source it, but it hasn't. I mean, I haven't had a chance to really read through it or anything like that. I know that he is. If he was terminated, he is entitled to receive 100% of his contract value remaining. So there is kind of a little bit of a buyout there for sure.
After this year, well, I mean, he's got a good reputation. Obviously, it's just, and he's done well for even us in the past. It's just unfortunately this year he didn't quite put it together the way we wanted to, and so things got to improve this year. We're getting some guys opt out back. Some of his recruits got a year of experience going into this year. So hopefully he can bounce back and prove himself this year. Yeah,
there's all kinds of things that are going to need to bounce back to have a good football season.
I'd say, yeah.
We shall see. We're going to talk a lot more about that. We're going to talk a little bit more about basketball. A lot of guys leaving for the NFL. We'll get into that kind of stuff. Who knows what we will get into. If you guys give us a call, 844-580-9326, you can get us talking about pretty much anything you want to tonight. So, all right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back on Knightline at Night, and we will talk to you soon.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, Back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
By Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. But you can call us at 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app if you're listening that way. Or even if you're not listening that way, you can always push that little button and send us a message. I am Andrew Phegley. Like I said, I believe I got Big Ben Stout here with me and Roger Phipps. We're talking UCF sports. Not a lot of UCF sports to talk about tonight because the Memphis game that was supposed to be going on as we speak is not because of COVID-19 issues. So we're just talking about all kinds of stuff, sports-related stuff. So one thing that we're all following, I mean, at least us, we're following the transfer portal. There's quite a bit of movement in that transfer portal. Of course, we all know Mackenzie Milton, our longtime quarterback that was injured, just transferred very recently to Florida State. So, you know, that's one thing. Darryl Mack, another quarterback that we're all familiar with, transferred to Old Dominion University in Virginia, where he's actually from. So that's kind of a homecoming for him. And Randy Charlton, one of the guys that was kicked off the team because of the gun incident thing that happened on campus. Mississippi State, he's signed with. And then the other guys from that incident, nobody else has signed that I know of. In fact, it's not in here anyway. I think Kenny Turnier may have signed someplace, but Antoine Collier, nothing. Eric Mitchell, nothing as far as this goes. So interesting enough, though, we have quite a few people in our transfer portal. I had heard maybe that we had a lot in there. I'll have to look at the rest of them to see that, but the rest of the teams, like in the American or whatever, but there are quite a few in there. But go ahead.
Yeah, there was something that popped up on Twitter not too long ago that said that we had the third most players in the transfer portal from the American Conference. We had 10 in the transfer portal. I think the ones that we could actually recall off the top of our heads, which kind of shows you the impact players that are in of those 10. I think the ones that you just mentioned, probably not much beyond that. But Houston, I believe, is the tops with 12, and then the Cows have 11 transfers in the portal right now. So a little bit interesting, not too surprising. The two that are above us, I don't think, with kind of the unstable, just kind of coaching that is Dana Holgerson at Houston, and then of course the Cows. Those are probably non-impact players as well. So. We'll have to see, but I just wanted to quickly comment that I think it's pretty cool that Darryl Mack, if he's not going to be in a Knights uniform, I think it's pretty cool that he is going home. I mean, Old Dominion is a program that didn't play this year, but they were certainly one on the rise. So I wish him the best. It'll be interesting to see if he can kind of
they didn't play at all this year.
Program. I don't believe so, but wow. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
They're a Conference USA team, so
yeah,
I would be. Wow, that's interesting. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah,
but it's an upcoming program as well. It hasn't been around a long time, and it made it into Division I, FBS pretty quickly. So that was kind of cool for them.
Yeah, I got a couple of big wins. They've invested a lot in their football program over the last few years, but I'm pretty sure just because of the location being right there in that DC area, I believe they decided to forego their season this year, but I'll double check on that.
Wow, yeah, no, that's interesting. No, I love that he's going there. I think it's a great fit for him, and in their little thing that they put on Twitter, that he's coming home, and that's cool. They're really excited about that, and I believe that he's excited to go back to that area where he went to high school and everything else. His family, being a military family, was in that area for quite a while. So I think that's great for him. And I wish him, obviously, and Mackenzie as well, nothing but the best. We always say around our program, once a night, always a night. And I will definitely follow those two guys because those two guys made very big impacts on, Mackenzie, without question, made probably the biggest impact, of any UCF player in the last 10 years or so. But Daryl Mack did as well. Won us a conference championship when Mackenzie went down. And
Man, I don't think anyone will ever forget that game. That was insane. One of the best second halves as far as a quarterback goes, one of the best second halves in UCF history. It was just incredible. So
and he had an incredible game that game. He had good things and bad things in that game as well. Remember, he fumbled a couple times and all that, but came back and scored all those touchdowns himself, which was impressive. All right, about time to take another break again. We will be right back on Knightline at Night.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this.
We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys?
My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I am Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever if you have New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. You can call us, 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326 to talk to us. You can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. I am AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me. At Big Social 32 on Twitter. Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter. And you can find the rest of our content on nightlinesports.com. We're going to go to the phones because we have our good friend Andrew from Oviedo on the line. Wants to talk a little bit about UCF football. Andrew from Oviedo, my friend, what's going on?
Good evening, guys. Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well.
You sound very excited.
I'm basically doing work at the same time, and I'm thinking, I better give my call and get my questions in before I get
okay.
Too into
What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I missed last week because didn't get a chance to call, but I kind of wanted to talk about the bowl game. I'm not sure if you guys talked to that at length last time, but I mean, I was at the bowl game. I witnessed it, and I don't know about you, what you saw on TV, because I've yet to watch the broadcast after watching that debacle last week. But I was kind of curious of what your guys' thought was for the future. Obviously, the excuse train is going to come out with, we're short guys, it's the year, it doesn't matter. But seeing it in person, I'm honestly concerned because, I mean, I wasn't able to be a D1 athlete. But when I look at what we have on the roster and what we have, I don't really buy the excuse of, they're freshmen, they'll get experience. Those guys on the roster are D1 scholarship athletes. And I'm kind of curious, do we really have the talent, or are we just kind of piggybacking off the 17, 18, 19 train? I guess my question is when we look at second half Randy, or I'm going to now call him second hand Randy.
Wow. That was great.
That's a good one. We're using it. You've said it on my show, man. It's mine now.
We're co-signing that
I'm
one.
taking it.
Take it, because when I got the news he's come back, I said, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of curious, what are your guys' thoughts on the talent, particularly the defense side? Offense, I think what we see is what we're going to get. I don't see much changing. This is Heupel stuff. Whatever we see is what we get. But I'm very curious on the defense. Clearly, that is an area we need to improve on. But I don't see the talent there. And I'm kind of curious of what your thought is of, yes, we have freshmen and experience, but at what point do we need to really consider the talent?
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I am worried about. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm really not. I think we have that covered. Or we can cover it pretty quickly with the guys that are on there. Defense is the thing I'm concerned with, especially the secondary, because we lost a bunch of good players. I mean, we did. I'm not going to use that as an excuse for the game, but it's kind of true. We lost a bunch of good players when they kicked the 4 guys off the team. Then we lost, guys sitting out because they're going to the NFL. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys missing back there. And yes, a lot of those guys were very young. And I didn't even know some of their names, to be honest with you. I had to look on my roster thing to even know who those guys were that were back there in that BYU game.
I think there's a huge difference between, Richie Grant and unanimous all-conference first-team, selection versus some of the guys that were out there that you mentioned, Andrew, that you don't even know their names.
I had never heard some of those guys' names, literally. Like, I did not even know they were on the team. So,
right. Well, one of them was a walk-on.
Well, yeah, and that's fine. I was a walk-on in college. Walk-on. Greg McCrae was a walk-on at one point. There's a lot of guys that were walk-ons. So, but being a walk-on in your first game and being a walk-on at the end of your college career are completely different things. Yeah. So, I think every college football team goes through this, though. Every college football team has to reload at some point. When you've had senior leadership back there and you've had transfer players that are seniors that have become seniors and it's time for them to go, this is what happens. I mean, it has to. So, yes, I'm worried about it. Go ahead, Ben. I think you were going to talk.
I was just going to say that it was kind of the perfect storm. We talked about it before the game as, well, look at this great opportunity we have to all of a sudden we thought we were going to play a mid to low tier ACC team, and we wound up with a top 15, top 20 team in the country in BYU. And so we looked at it as this great opportunity, and obviously we were looking at it optimistically. But at the end of the day, I mean, you've got their quarterback in Zach Wilson slinging the ball around, who just finished number 8 in the Heisman voting tonight. And, experienced offensive line that could keep him protected, good skill position players. I mean, BYU is a very good quality football team. And unfortunately, a lot of their guys on offense decided to stick around and play that game because they had something to prove. And a lot of our guys didn't, even before that game. And so it just was kind of the perfect storm for us to be embarrassed on defense. And it was really unfortunate. It was the first time it certainly wasn't the first time we got embarrassed on defense this season, which is certainly a concern. But first time that Heupel has lost a game by double digits. So it's an interesting dynamic, and it was just kind of the perfect storm for us.
Yeah, so one of the guys that I'd never heard of was John Powell. He played on defense, number 34. Never heard of him before. There's other ones on here. Exactly.
He was a special teams player for up until that point.
Exactly. So, you throw those in against a team that is what BYU is, and what do you expect?
And then you have our experienced safety that maybe not experienced with us, but a guy that we really needed in that game, and Devad Wilson, get a targeting call early in the game. He's out. He's eliminated.
It was in the first quarter at least. I think it was only like a few plays in, right?
Right, and
I don't
so
want to
again,
remember that game, to be honest with you.
To quote Andrew, he's we are. I guess you could say we're utilizing the excuse train here, but there was a lot of bad things that just happened for us, not just the play on the field, but the players that were available to play on the field.
Yeah, there's another guy listed, Q Bullard. Who's Q Bullard? Never heard of him.
Quadri Bullard. He played sparingly throughout the season. To your point, Andrew, there's a list and a litany of folks that were getting first-time reps. They had the COVID-19 where people were sitting out. They had a rash of that go through the team for the first 2 weeks prior to the game, so there wasn't very much prep time. And on top of that, it was a short week for us for prep time as well. To Andrew's question, and the original question to me is, how do we feel about where we are going forward? We know what happened at BYU. We know why it happened. I think, it's a question of, okay, let's assess the players that we have on the roster now and how we feel about it going forward. So a few things.
Well, that's kind of what we're talking about, because we're talking about guys that we haven't heard of. And those guys will be the guys that we'll look forward to on the roster to be the guys
we'll
that
have
hold it down.
people like Devad. Think about it this way. When we, in 2017, 2018, we had that kickoff return by Mike Rogers against USF, right?
Mike Hughes, you mean?
Or Mike Hughes. I don't know why I said Rogers. Mike Hughes, right? So Mike Hughes came to us. We were in a disconcerting situation in the defensive backfield as well when he came in, and he made an immediate difference, right? We've got folks like Devad Wilson, Jaden Francois. We've got some returning folks from this year in the secondary as well, and
Corey Thornton will be a sophomore. He played well.
Exactly. So, I think there are some pieces there, and hopefully they actually get a spring practice and workouts and everything in that they need to be able to play. So I think our depth is where we're hurting. So if someone gets an injury, if someone's injured, if something happens there, I think that's where it really hurts us, because I think the depth will be lacking. We'll be able to, I believe we'll be able to field a somewhat serviceable backfield. We've got the defensive line. And then a lot of this too, we've got some pretty solid freshmen coming here. 2016 to 2017, we had a lot of freshmen playing that made impact plays their first and second year. So I think we'll be okay the following season. Next year, I think it's going to be a big part of this is how well do those transfers fit into our system? And number two, how well do the Cole Joyces of the world fit, and when are they going to be ready to play at the level that we need them to play? And because depth is really what's going to hurt us.
Okay, well, I think if you look at the stat sheet from the BYU game and you look at the top 10 players on that, McMillan, Thornton, Brown, Lester, Bethune, Hancock, Wilson, Maxwell, and Powell and Salazar, you look at those guys right there, and those guys are going to be the guys that will be good next year. Those are the guys right there that were the top 10 players in statistics on the defense in that area that will probably be the guys that hold the thing down. So
Yeah, and even some guys on that list that we are looking for even better seasons next year, and we kind of are confident that they will, like Eric Gilliard and
right
Cam
outside
Good.
of the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, these are Trayvon Morris
as well.
Brash. Yeah, I mean, these are guys, and then we're getting back a few guys that opted out on the defensive line, especially this past season, are coming back.
Kalia Davis.
Yeah, Kalia Davis. So it's going to be a big,
Roger
comeback
makes
for
up
us,
names every time. What did you call him? It's Kalia
Davis.
No,
Kalia
but Roger
Davis,
said Kalia or something crazy. He makes up names, this guy. He makes up names. I was giving you trouble about one other one sometime that you put some like French syllable on the end of it.
That was on the podcast.
I know, but still, it's the same thing, Roger.
Gosh,
you make up
I wish
names.
I could remember right off the top of my head what you said.
It's so funny. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Morris Brash is the guy that I really look to step up because this guy is a monster, and I don't think he's played to his potential yet. There has been some times, like this last game, he had one solo tackle. That's it in the BYU game. So I don't know if he was taking it easy, going into the next season or what, but he needs to step up because he is a heck of a player. There was a video that I saw recently, I think it was on Facebook or something, of him playing rugby. And the dude is a monster, absolute monster. Okay, we need to take a break here. We're going to be right back on Knightline at Night, and we'll talk a little bit more about this stuff when we come back. Hey, Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're brought to you by Chad Barlaw, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. Alrighty, got Big Ben Stout here at Big Social 32 on Twitter and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter. I am AP_Knightline or UCF_Knightline on Twitter. Talking for this last few minutes, we're going to talk a little bit more about basketball. We talked about football and our expectations. Thank you for Andrew from Oviedo's call. Always a good call from him. Always thought-provoking for sure. So hopefully we answered that even with our little arguments that we were having. Anyway, so we...
Kalia.
Yeah.
Kalia Davis.
I don't remember what you said, but it wasn't Kalia.
Kalia.
It's like
Kalia. Making up names. All right, so... of course, tonight's men's basketball game would have been going on right now as we speak, but it's not because it was canceled by COVID-19. Next up on Saturday, January 9th, I guess that's this Saturday, supposed to be at Tulsa, 2 p.m. Ben, what do you think if that one happens? Will it happen, number one? A prediction, I guess. We might as well predict
right
something. I mean, I guess maybe we should be betting on this stuff.
Yeah, we first off predict if we're going to play the game, then we talk about the actual pregame
Yeah,
game.
so what's your take? Do we play the game or not?
I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say that we do play the game. I'm worried that we had our game canceled tonight last minute, and then we have to travel to Tulsa, which that does worry me. But I am going to be optimistic that we do play the game. This is a Tulsa team that is a very good defensive team. They're an efficient scoring team. They got one of the top conference players in Brandon Rochelle. And so they're going to be a tough matchup. They actually beat Houston, top 10 team in the country. They beat Houston by 1 point last week. They've beaten Memphis. They're a really tough team. Your favorite matchup predictor there, Andrew, has us at a 30% chance. Them at a 70% chance to pull this out. I really would have loved to get that Memphis.
Anymore.
Exactly, right? I really would have loved to get that Memphis game tonight to especially Brandon Mahan to hopefully shake off the cobwebs. He's really struggled the last couple of games. He only shot 3 shots against the Cows. We've got to get him back going again, get him in isolation opportunities. Hopefully we're able to play this game and get him going because he's a guy that, since he has become the focal point of every defense that we've played, since he's become kind of like, exploded against Florida State and against these other teams, he's been pretty quiet the last couple of games. So I'm looking for him to bounce back, and hopefully we can pull out what would be an upset victory against or at Tulsa, which I don't think we've won, that we were talking about in the break. I don't think that we have actually ever won a basketball game. They're just like football. So it's kind of, hopefully we can pull it out in the vortex.
Absolutely. Roger, quickly, your take, your prediction. Are we playing this game or not?
We're playing. I just don't think we're playing very well. And it's not just the matchup predictor. I think this is a tough team, and I think we're going to miss some pieces. Even with Isaiah Adams coming back, he's going to be shaking off the rust. So I don't necessarily think we're going to be on top of our game. What will be important is if Darius Perry can keep those 6 assist numbers and score the basket like he's been doing. If he can provide an offensive spark, I think we'll be in much better position and hopefully get some fouls on a strong defensive team.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you my take. I don't think we play this game either for some reason. I'm just going to be the pessimist here. I also think that if we do play this game, it's extremely important for our guys to get some cohesion together and to play together. And I want to see a team that really can complement each other and play together. That's what we really need to see. It's the only chance that we have. We've seen them do it before. We need to see them do it again. So we will be watching January 9th, which is Saturday at Tulsa, 2 p.m. on ESPN+. We will be watching that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for Sam in the studio. Did a great job. Thank you, Ben and Roger. We will see you next week.